milk is best for toddlers. If you go to the grocery store, you will see cow's milk and all kinds of plant-based milks. Oat milk, almond milk, cashew milk, pea protein milk. The list goes on and on and on. How do you decide the best milk for your toddler? Stick with me and I'm going to show you how. Hey everyone, Jill Castle here. I'm a pediatric dietitian and the founder of The Nourished Child, a website for parents, and the host of this channel. I am thrilled to be talking to you today about all the different kinds of milks that you could potentially purchase for your toddler. I'm Jill Castle, a pediatric dietitian and mom of 4, and I'm the founder of The Nourished Child, which is a YouTube channel that you're listening to right now, but also an educational website for parents. There's a lot for parents to learn about the ins and outs of feeding children, because you can't just get good food on the table and expect to raise a healthy eater. So I'm here to help you. Did you know that toddlers get so much nutrition from the beverages that they drink during the day? That's why it is so important to make sure you get the beverage choice, specifically the milk choice for your toddler spot on. In this video, I'm going to cover the key nutrients that you need to be aware of, particularly when you're making that choice of the best milk for toddlers. I'll talk about nutrition from cow's milk versus nutrition from plant-based milks. I'll give you a brief review of the research around watch-outs around plant-based milks for toddlers, and I'll also cover the research-based recommendations that have recently come out for children under the age of 5 when it comes to choosing milk. Believe me, you need to know this information so you support the body and the brain growth of your little one. So tell me before we get started, what kind of milk are you feeding your toddler right now? Go ahead and leave a comment and let me know. And keep on listening so you get all the information that you need to make the best milk choice for your little toddler. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that toddlers, kids, and teenagers all need calcium and vitamin D to build strong bones. And oftentimes the easiest source where they can get that calcium and vitamin D is in the beverages that they drink, specifically either cow's milk or plant-based milks. But before we dive into those different types of milks, let's just quickly review the calcium and vitamin D needs of children. If you have a child who is age 1 to age 3, your child needs about 700 milligrams of calcium per day. For children who are age 4 to 8, we're talking about 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day. And for the older child, age 9 all the way up to age 18, we are talking 1,300 milligrams of calcium per day. That's a lot of calcium. Now, when it comes to vitamin D, for all children over the age of 1, we're looking at 600 international units per day, or 600 IUs per day. So calcium and vitamin D are the hallmark nutrients for building bones. And bone building happens during childhood. Once you become an adult in your early 20s, your mid-20s, your bones are set. In fact, by age 20, 95% of the bone health and the bone density and the bone strength is already established. And this is due to that calcium and vitamin D content from the diet. So getting that milk choice right and making sure that that milk choice is full of calcium and vitamin D is extremely important. So now let's talk about cow's milk, because cow's milk is the gold standard for children. It has been forever and ever. When my young children were growing up, the recommendations were to give children whole cow's milk until the age of 5. Now those recommendations have changed because 20 years later, 20 plus years later, we have a very different health profile amongst children and very different recommendations about whole milk. That's a topic for another video. But what I wanted to talk about is the nutrition that comes from cow's milk and how it plays a role in that healthy bone growth and development that I just was talking about. The reason cow's milk is the gold standard is because it is packed with 13 different essential nutrients for children's growth and development. So there is no other beverage that is packed with that much nutrition. Yes, we'll talk about plant-based milk, and yes, they do have quite a bit of calcium and vitamin D, but there are trade-offs in those as well. They are missing certain vitamins and minerals that cow's milk can provide. So 1 cup or 8 ounces of cow's milk provides about 300 milligrams of calcium, about 125 international units of vitamin D, and about 8 grams of protein, plus a whole bunch of other nutrients like vitamin A, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, selenium, zinc. The list goes on and on and on. Vitamin B12. So packed with a rich source of nutrition. Now this becomes really important when we're talking about very young children, because remember what I said, young children rely more heavily on the drinks that they consume for nutrition than older children or even adults do. Now, because cow's milk contains 300 milligrams of calcium and about 80 to 120 international units of vitamin D, it means that 1 cup won't be enough to cover the needs of your child. And even the recommendations, which say 3 servings of cow's milk for young children, that won't be enough to cover the recommendations either. So what you need to do is, regardless of what you're offering, cow's milk or plant-based milk, you are going to have to bring in additional food sources to provide that extra source of calcium and vitamin D so that your child gets what he needs in order to grow and develop and make those nice, strong, healthy bones that he'll need later on in life when he gets to be my age. Thirdly, plant-based milks are not an even exchange for cow's milk. As I hinted to earlier, plant-based milks just don't have the number of nutrients, number one, that cow's milk has, and not in the same amounts either. In fact, when we look at my plate and the food groups, particularly the dairy food group, most plant-based milks do not fall in the category of a dairy food group because they are missing so many of those nutrients that need to make them qualified to be called a dairy product. Now, soy milk is the exception. Soy milk is a relatively similar nutritional composition of cow's milk, and so you can use soy milk as a plant-based alternative to cow's milk and still be fulfilling your dairy requirements. Cow's milk and soy milk nutrition have a lot of similar nutrients and in similar quantities. So when we talk about plant-based milks or dairy alternatives, it's good to understand that overall, that category, now there will be some exceptions I'll talk about, but overall, that category is going to be low in calories for young children, low in protein for young children, low in fat for young children, and sometimes too high in sugar, particularly around those flavored versions of plant-based milks. Now, I want to review some of the more common plant-based milks for you, but if you want to see my review in written form, go to the website above here on the card that talks about the best milk for kids, and it gives you a rundown of the nutritional profile of each of the plant-based milks I'm going to talk about. Sometimes it's just easier to look at all this data written out and in chart form. So as I mentioned, soy milk is the closest match to cow's milk when it comes to the plant-based milk category. It is one of the best options for children following a plant-based diet or a vegetarian diet or even a vegan diet to use as a substitute because it is packed with 8 grams of protein, a good amount of calcium, vitamin D, and many of the nutrients that you'll find in cow's milk. Rice milk. In general, rice milk is low in calories, low in protein, and low in fat, not appropriate for a growing toddler. Also, rice milk can be high in added sugar, So if you get a flavored version like vanilla rice milk, that's going to have added sugar added to it. And we know in children under the age of 2, we don't want them to have any added sugar in their diet. So rice milk has some challenges in that area. Also, another challenge around rice milk is the potential for arsenic exposure in your child. So rice grows in paddy fields, and the roots take up, or potentially can take up, quite a bit of arsenic into the grain. So children who are young, we want to minimize the exposure of arsenic from rice milk, rice crackers, rice cereal. All of those products made from rice potentially have dangerous levels of arsenic in them. Hemp milk. Hemp milk is a vegan option in the plant-based milk category. What stands out in hemp milk is that it's a good source of vitamin B12, which for children who are vegan really need to be concerned about. It also is a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. So again, great for heart health, great for brain growth and development. Again, if it's a flavored hemp milk, it's going to have a significant amount of added sugar. And if it's unflavored, it's probably going to be low in calories for a young child. Nut milks, so things like cashew milk, almond milk, these again tend to be low in protein, low in calories, and low in fat for young children who are still in that vigorous period of growth and development. Nut milks are no good for children with tree nut allergies either. So that would be a non sequitur. No way can children with no way can children with nut allergies consume nut milks. Coconut milk, again, low protein, low calories, decent amount of vitamin B12, but again, challenges when we talk about young children and the nutrition that they need. Pea protein milk, oftentimes commercially referred to as ripple milk. Again, a good source of protein, decent calories. Pea protein milk is made from yellow peas, and oftentimes there's more calcium and vitamin D in pea protein milk than there is in cow's milk. There are also some omega-3 fatty acids in pea protein milk, which make it a nice addition as well. Oat milk is similar to rice milk in that it's low in protein, low in calories, and low in fat. So again, something to keep in mind. The added benefit of oat milk is there is a touch of fiber in that milk. So that can be a nice nutritional boost from oat milk. Flax milk has low to no protein, calories are low, but there are some omega-3 fatty acids there that can also add a little nutritional boost to your child's diet. So mainly when we're thinking about plant-based milks versus cow's milk, we want to think about the age of the child, because the younger the child is, the wiser and more knowledgeable you need to be about what their nutrient requirements are and how a milk can help meet those requirements on a day-to-day basis. Toddlers have higher fat needs, protein needs, and calorie needs related to their body weight. And so making the right choice is really critical. We don't want toddlers to be on drinking lots of milks that aren't supplying the nutrients that they need. We'll see their growth falter and perhaps even lose weight, and that is not what is supposed to be happening during toddlerhood. The recommendation is that for children under the age of 5 years, unless medically appropriate or culturally required, children under the age of 5 should be having cow's milk. Again, it's meeting many of their nutrient needs, from calories to micronutrients, in a fashion that can eliminate any concerns about nutrient deficits or poor growth and development. Again, if you want to be a plant-based family, you can do that and use cow's milk, and then make the switch later on to a plant-based milk when that early growth and development, particularly brain development, has occurred, and you can swap out later on. specifically for children under age 5. If you're wondering how much milk they need, for children 1 to 2, you're going to target 3 servings of dairy a day. And the dairy source is whole milk. Between 2 and 3 years of age, you're targeting a lower fat milk and less than 2 cups per day. And for the child who's between ages 4 and 5, you're targeting less than 2.5 cups per day. And again, you're targeting that lower fat, 2%, 1%, even skim milk source. If you're concerned that your toddler's not gaining weight appropriately, go ahead and watch my video about toddler weight gain the healthy way. That will help you find some foods that will help promote that weight gain that all toddlers need to be doing. They need to be steady Eddie on that weight gain and growth. So the bottom line when it comes to plant-based milk versus cow's milk, you really just need to know the age of your child and consider his or her nutrient needs. Because milk is such an anchor to the diet of a young child, you want to make sure you're giving your child that really nutritious, nutrient-rich beverage that's going to help him or her continue to grow and develop properly. Consider any medical concerns you might have, such as a nut allergy or a milk allergy. Those are going to inform which beverage you choose to offer your young child. Also, consider your cultural preferences. If you're following a vegetarian eating plan or a vegan eating plan, that's going to govern the type of milk that you offer your child. And last, remember, if you are following a plant-based diet, you can still use dairy products for those early years in order to get the fat and the calories and all those nutrients into your child when they're still growing at quite a clip. All right, that's it for today. If this video helped you, please give me a thumbs up and make sure to just subscribe to the channel. You'll get informed every time I release a new video, which is pretty much every week. And if you want to learn more about plant-based eating or the Mediterranean diet, be sure to check out my other videos on this channel. I have a plethora of kid-focused nutrition videos and feeding videos for parents like you. That's it. Take care, and I'll see you next time.